Hi, this is Mats Eriksson, and this is my instructions project that I have named A College Student's Guide to Authentic Swedish Meatballs. I will teach you how to make Swedish meatballs, and I will go over how you prepare for cooking, including what ingredients you need and to prepare your kitchen, and then how you cook them, how you serve them, and how you store them. So how you prepare for cooking? First of all, you need to make sure that you have all the ingredients necessary. This is a recipe that the cookbook says it's enough for about 4 people, so realistically for 2 college students. You need ground beef, you need breadcrumbs, you need milk, you need eggs, you need an onion, and you need some butter, and of course, salt and pepper. In terms of preparing the kitchen, you need to make sure that you have an open, clean area to work with. And it's really worth making sure all the dishes are taken care of, even if none of them are yours. It is way nicer and easier and better to cook in a kitchen that looks more like this. And other than cleaning your kitchen, you should make sure that you have a large mixing bowl, a cookie sheet that's greased, and a frying pan. Step 1. Start with turning the oven on to 440 degrees Fahrenheit. Then you want to mix the breadcrumbs and the milk and let them soak for a couple minutes. It looks kind of weird when you mix it, but as you can see in the picture there, that's what it looks like, and that's fine. When you've done that, you can move on to cut up the onion, cut it into small pieces, and then you take the frying pan and you put a little bit of butter in it and you fry the onion until it's yellow. You don't want to burn the onion. The color that you see on the onion in this bowl on the picture that's perfect. You just want to make it a little bit yellow to soften it. After that, you move on to you add the meat and excuse me, the salt, the egg, the onion, and the pepper to the breadcrumb mix that you've had soaking for a couple minutes, and you want to mix this really well. Use your hands. There's no point in using like a wooden spoon or anything. The hands are the best for mixing. Then it's time to start rolling the meatballs. And what you want to do is to make sure that your hands are wet. So wash your hands under cold water and do this next to the sink so that you can wash your hands, or at least just rinse off your hands with cold water between every other meatball. If you get dry hands when you try to do this, the ground beef is going to stick to your hands and it just becomes a mess. So when your hands are wet, you grab a tiny piece of meat, about that size, and then you roll it between your hands until it becomes a small ball. And something that's something that I've learned is that it's a good idea to, even if you're not planning on cooking all the meatballs in the frying pan, make a couple meatballs and cook them in the frying pan before you do the rest, just to try it, to make sure that you have enough salt, or if you want to add something else to them. So cook a couple in the frying pan and try them and make sure that they taste good. And then you move on and you roll meatballs out of the rest of the meat. And you put it on the greased cookie sheet. And it's okay to have the meatballs quite close to each other on the cookie sheet, but just make sure that you have enough room to use a spatula or something and move them around in the oven later without having the meatballs falling off the cookie sheet. When you've done that, you put them in the oven. You can cook them somewhere between 15 and 35 minutes depending on how you like them and how hot your oven cooks them. Once or twice you want to open the oven and move the meatballs around with a spatula or some other kitchen utensil, just to make sure um, that they don't get burned. And also, another trick with these are, if you don't like your meatballs to be super dry, you can take another cookie sheet and fill it with water and put it at the bottom of the oven. That's going to fill the oven with steam, and it's not going to dry out the meatballs. If you look at this picture, you'll see the color. That's how the meatballs look when they are done. So the range of 15 to 35 minutes is a big range. As I said, it depends on how hot your oven cooks. So keep an eye on it, and the color that these meatballs have, that's what they look like when they are done. When you cook them, you want to serve them. And in Sweden, we eat the meatballs oftentimes with mashed potatoes and cooked carrots, and of course, lingonberries. That's almost um, mandatory if you're making Swedish meatballs. You can actually buy Swedish lingonberries at Fred Meyer, and that's the little jar that you see on the left-hand picture. Meatballs are good college food because you can cook a lot of it, and then you can store it, you can freeze it. Meatballs last in the fridge for up to a week, but in the freezer you can store them for a long time, for several months. Another good cooking tip is to cook them for only 5 to 10 minutes in the oven and then freeze them before they are done. And then when you're hungry, you just take out a few and you thaw them, and then you cook them for just a couple minutes in a frying pan, and you'll have fresh meatballs without having to do all the work before. So really easy, really quick food, and good food. And now you all know how to make Swedish meatballs. So thank you for watching.